So today, Chad and I are doing a tour of Back of the Yards, historic churches. We're calling it the Spirit of Back of the Yards tour, historic tour. And the first place we're looking at is St. Basil's. Here's the rectory. This is a Byzantine-style Catholic church built in 1925, which unfortunately was demolished, I think in the 80s or 90s, as the population of the neighborhood changed. But this school behind it here is Basil School, which some of the kids in our neighborhood actually go to. This is not far from our house. And so you see the school. I had no idea it was a Catholic school. It may not be a Catholic school, maybe a public school at this point. But you could see how the school and then this empty lot would have been where this Byzantine-style church was. And here is the rectory. Now we are going to St. John's, a Polish church right now. And this would have been a beautiful location in 1918 for a church, because this is Sherman Park. It's a beautiful park, and on one end is a library, and it has a river, like a little pond with an island in the center of it. 800 feet. So as we drove up to this spot, this is where St. John's was, and actually Chad and I remember this church being demolished right in this grassy spot. It had two very large towers in the front, and we're curious about this place right here next to where this Polish Catholic church called St. John's, which was built in 1918, what this building is would have been right next to it. Probably was a school. And now, yes, look at this, Saint John of God School. That was the school that would have been right now. Interesting that these schools are here, even though the churches have been demolished. So a lot of the schools were taken over by public schools.
I don't think this has.
Let's go up. What is that? Is that a park there, a garden they've got up there? Let's see what that is. Now it looks like this school would have been built later than 1918. It has a newer look to it. Oh, look at this. We've got a community garden here. That's nice. So here's another Catholic church on Hermitage that was originally called St. Cyril and Methodius. Built in 1912. I'm going to see if I can scroll back here. This church now is a New Life Seventh-day Adventist church, which has nothing to do with the New Life, our New Life church, but there's a lot of New Lives around here. And this is, the cool thing is there's a ministry center here called The Port, which is a Catholic ministry center that we looked into when we first moved to Chicago, and they do a bread truck and they do various ministries, and they're still functional here. Let's see if I can get the tower, this beautiful tower there. Look at that. There's so many beautiful towers. And you can see this design here. That giant tree is covering the tower. This church is buried right inside the neighborhood. What do you think, Chad? Here's another beautiful church in Back of the Yards. Chad said it used to be a Russian Orthodox church, and actually my friend got saved here about 15 years ago.
Pentecostal church now.
Yeah, it's a Pentecostal church now, and they do outreaches in the park. But you see how beautiful. Wow, how beautiful. Not sure when this was built, but
Might not have been Russian. Who knows? Can't really tell. Russian or not.
Gorgeous neighborhood church. This is the
Definitely Orthodox.
this is the south-facing view, so this would have been beautiful light shining in these stained glass windows. So here you see it's the Apostolic House of Prayer now. But Chad pointed out the crosses are how you know it's Russian. Those 3 stripes through, that's the Russian cross. So.
I didn't say Russian, it might not be Russian.
Or Orthodox, right? Orthodox. So this church we were just talking about, actually, I did have in my notes, babe. And it said that it's actually the nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary Ukrainian Catholic Church is what this was.
Ukrainian Catholic.
So it's a Ukrainian Catholic Church. So
where they have those domes. Those Orthodox domes.
Yes. And one thing that's, you know, we're finding is that almost every street in back of the yards had a church on it. From my notes, we have churches that are on 45th Street, 46th, 48th, 49th, 50th, 52nd, and 55th. And these were all Catholic churches. So they say that this was like Little Rome because there were so many Catholic churches outside of Rome in a 2 square mile radius. So we're here at 48th Street, and this is St. Joseph's Polish Church, established 1918. It's still alive and well. Very beautiful church. It's got these incredible windows and towers. Let's see if we can move across the street. I'm going to go backwards. Hopefully no one will. And the rectory is still here. Chavez School actually looks like took over the Catholic school, and Chavez is a magnet school in Chicago, very popular. So it's showing these towers are so beautiful. I don't know if you can see those. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous Polish church. I'm gonna take a walk. Gonna go see the rectory, babe?
Yeah.
We're going to go see the rectory. Some beautiful detailing on the brick here. So again, we're at St. John's Polish Church. The birds just love it here. Look at that gorgeous round. And here is the rectory. And you see there is Chavez School beside. So that would have been the old. Oh, you can hear the bells. They're still working. So, what time is it, babe? You got the bells going.
Those bells don't sound too good.
They've been around a long time. Here's the... And this is just tucked in the neighborhood. There's just houses. I mean, here's the school, but literally there's just houses all around. There's no really view or prospect, you know, it's just literally tucked right into the neighborhood. Okay, so I'm standing here by the Ukrainian Catholic Church that is, you can see these towers really anywhere in the city. This is a Renaissance revival and style, and there's these 8 Corinthian columns that are pretty impressive, pretty amazing. And this is actually across from Seward. So I'm wondering if Seward used to be a Catholic school back in the day. And We are at 46th Street right now. So as you can see, almost every block, we're 2 blocks from St. Joseph's. This incredible church. So you can see here, next to this fabulous church, right next to where we have, I believe this is the rectory. We're gonna drive around, right babe? See, this is the rectory. You said Holy Cross, babe?
Yeah.
Holy Cross. Yeah, so it's amazing how they have, this Catholic Church has so much influence with the schools and all this leadership, you know, these people dedicated, living their lives for God, and, you know, in these rectories. Holy Cross. Okay, school hall. No, here's the school. Okay, so maybe Seward wasn't, or maybe Seward was a high school attached. Oh, what do we got here? What is this? Keep going, babe. This is amazing. Wow, look at that. This is the oficina. Oh, that's the Good Shepherd. Wow, what a beautiful. So maybe they had a high school and an elementary. So I'm standing here by this fabulous building that is actually on the historic register, built in 1887, Irish Catholic St. Gabriel's and school right there. And it is so pretty. You can see a little bit of the tower. Unfortunately, they are working on the tower. Well, that's probably fortunate. It's going to be beautiful. But yes, this is on Low and 45th, so we're really on the edge of back of the yards. In fact, I'm wondering if we're in Canaryville at this point, but this church is 140 years old, and a testament to the fact that the Irish were some of the first immigrants that came in 1865, along with the Germans, to back of the yards, some of the first to work in the stockyards, and they were, if I remember right, they were starving in Ireland at that time because of the potato famine, and so they had to leave their beautiful green country, their green island, for Chicago, and they came and made a home and found work here. So it's so green here. This is really beautifully kept. I think this is the best. So this is Iglesia Saint Jean Baptiste, so Church of John the Baptist, and we are on 50th and Peoria. And this was built in 1910. This is a pretty bombed out part of the neighborhood. I'm not sure what's going on with this church right now, but you can see some of its former glory. Its glory. And we see it's boarded up. And we saw the little tower, their little copper tower was sitting in the yard over here. But someone's keeping this clean. So I think it must be used by someone. Oh yeah, Ebenezer House of Prayer. That's what it's called now, Ebenezer House of Prayer. But this is gorgeous, like. And here is probably the rectory. Let me get a view of the... And it just goes to show that there are just... there were churches on every street. So beautiful there. Let's see if I can show you. Maybe this was a priest's house. Maybe this was a Lutheran. I don't know. It's in French, I think. But who knows? Could be Spanish. And then we're coming over here. It's beautiful. Oh dear. Look at that. The sad little tower. Right in the neighborhood, right off of the main drag right there. But facing the neighbor, the front faces actually the, the neighborhood.
Well, we're ending our tour.
The Spirit of the Neighborhood historic tour is over now, and I have a lot of mixed feelings. I think it's amazing to see how God has worked in our neighborhood over the years, and that He's still here, knowing He's still here. These churches, many of them still have churches in them. Now they're House of Prayer, Ebenezer House of Prayer, or different, Baptist churches. But it's also a little bit sad, especially I think, to see the disconnect between the schools and the church. What once this neighborhood had a lot of religious education going on, now that's been ended, and I think you really see that in the decline of the neighborhood itself. And it's a little sad to see these really beautiful historic buildings. We only saw one that is under the historic register and really being cared for. And that one was really more right on the edge of Back of the Yards in Canaryville. And the ones in Back of the Yard look pretty run down, although some of them, they're doing a little bit of work on a tower here or there. But so I have mixed feelings about this tour. It's God's still here, He's still working, but yeah, when you look at it, there's just a lot of feelings about what has happened in the neighborhood and how that's affected the community. I would love to see all of these churches restored to the schools that are nearby them, and religious education actually happening in those schools. So that would be my 100-year plan for Back of the Yards, and also a historic renovation of some of the most beautiful churches that are still here in Back of the Yards. So, thanks for listening.
In loving tribute to the parishes closed in Back of the Yards, St. Augustine, St. John of God, Sacred Heart, St. Rose of Lima, St. Cyril and Methodius, their faith and spirit live on at St. Joseph's Parish, 1995, Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, this actually says 1895 on this building. Now we should walk around. I wonder if this was the first church.